Chaos loses its power over you. Emotion stops controlling you. This is your new discipline, consistent calm. It's not weakness. It's command. Today you stop being reactive. You stop chasing noise. You rise above it and master the rarest skill in existence: emotional stillness under pressure. This audiobook will teach you how to control your inner world so completely that nothing outside of you can break you again. Most people live on emotional autopilot. They react without thinking. They get provoked. They explode. They regret. That's the pattern. Stimulus, reaction, shame. Repeat, and it's destroying your peace, your control, and your potential. But you're here because you're done being controlled by impulse. You're ready to build command. You're ready to build response. You see, reacting is emotional. Responding is intentional. Reacting is about ego. Responding is about control. Reacting is survival. Responding is strategy. You have a choice. Every single time. When the world throws chaos at you, you can react like everyone else. Or you can pause. You can breathe. You can decide who you're going to be in that moment. That's the key. You gain power not by doing more, but by pausing longer. That pause, that 1 second, that's where your strength lives. That's where self-control begins. That's where emotional mastery is. Built, breathe, pause, respond, never react, say it. Again. Breathe. Pause. Respond. Never react. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally trained. You're not trying to kill emotion. You're trying to direct it because emotion is fuel. But if you spill it, it burns you. If you control it, it moves you. Look at the greatest leaders, the calmest warriors, the most composed thinkers. They don't react to the fire. They become the fire. They stay still while everyone else panics. They slow down while others speed up. They listen while others shout. That's not luck. That's not natural talent. That's training. That's repetition. That's discipline. An elite soldier trains this every day. They simulate chaos until calm becomes their default. Explosions, shouting, pressure, and still they breathe. Because in the middle of chaos, calm is command. A leader does the same. In a crisis, when everyone else loses their head, the true leader slows down. They don't rush to prove they're right. They wait to understand. They don't react to emotion. They respond to reality. That's how power operates. That's how calm dominates. Chaos. You have to build that same habit in your own life. When someone disrespects you, pause. When plans fall apart, pause. When fear rises in your chest, pause. Why? Because every reaction is a seed. If you plant anger, you grow regret. If you plant patience, you grow strength. And that's the difference between those who lead their lives and those who get dragged through them. You have a choice every single time. The reactive person says, "They made me angry." The calm person says, "I chose not to be moved." The reactive person blames. The calm person builds. Stop letting external chaos dictate your internal state. That's not control. That's slavery. Every time you react, you hand your power to someone else. Every time you pause, you take it back. That's the discipline. That's the practice. Breathe, pause, respond, never. React. You don't need their permission to be calm. You don't need the situation to be perfect. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need to decide, I'm right here, right now, that nothing outside of you deserves to control the inside of you. That's freedom. Emotional control doesn't mean apathy. It means precision. It means purpose. It means knowing when to move, when to speak, and when to stay silent. Most people react because silence scares them. They fear being misunderstood. They fear being ignored. But calm people know silence speaks volumes. Stillness shows confidence. When you stop reacting, you make space for wisdom to enter. You make space for better choices. You make space for peace. You start to see the pattern before it repeats. You start to see the manipulation before it works. You start to see yourself clearly. And that's when you realize the world isn't chaotic. You are just chaotic inside it. When you learn to master that inner calm, the outside world loses its power over you. The noise stops owning your attention. The drama stops renting space in your mind. You become stable, centered, grounded, unshakable. This is the practice. Daily, deliberate, disciplined. When your phone buzzes, pause. When your plans fail, pause. When someone insults you, pause. You don't owe anyone your reaction. You owe yourself your peace. That's the new rule. That's the new standard. If it costs your calm, it's too expensive. If it demands your reaction, it doesn't deserve your energy. Your job is to observe, not absorb, to analyze, not personalize, to decide, not to react. That's the level of control you're building. That's emotional intelligence in its purest form. Every reaction you withhold becomes a victory. Every pause you master becomes a weapon. Every deep breath is a declaration. I'm in charge here. You are not your emotions. You are not your impulses. You are not the chaos around you. You are the observer, the responder, the commander. And that's the key. You don't need their apology to find peace. You don't need validation to stay centered. You just need the discipline to pause before you act, because calm is not passive. It's power under control. It's the quiet storm that chooses when to strike. It's the strength that doesn't need to prove itself. And when you live like that, everything changes. Your relationships shift. Your decisions sharpen. Your confidence solidifies, because you stop being led by emotion and start being led by clarity. That's transformation. That's mastery. You breathe. You pause. You respond. You never react. Say it again until it lives in your bones. Breathe. Pause. Respond. Never react. Every repetition builds the muscle of control. Every repetition builds the discipline of calm. Every repetition makes you stronger, quieter, clearer, and that's the entire mission of this audiobook, to train that calm until it becomes your natural state. You're no longer a slave to reaction. You're a master of response. And that mastery begins right here, right now, with this simple command. Stop reacting. Start responding. You just learned the foundation of emotional control. You mastered your first weapon, the pause. Now let's talk about the environment that keeps your calm sharp and focused. People misunderstand calm. They think it's soft. They think it's passive. They think it means you don't care. They're wrong. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. Calm is clarity. Calm is strength under pressure. Real calm doesn't come from avoiding chaos. It comes from mastering yourself inside the chaos. You've been taught to equate noise with confidence. You've been trained to believe that shouting means power, but the truth, noise is often insecurity in disguise. The calm person doesn't need to prove anything. They already know who they are. They don't perform for attention. They act from conviction. That's the key. Real power doesn't need to shout. Real power doesn't panic. Real power doesn't chase validation. It holds still. It observes. It decides. And when it moves with precision. Look at the boxer in the ring. He's not wasting energy on wild punches or yelling at his opponent. He's composed. He's calculating. He's conserving his strength. He knows every breath counts. Every movement matters. To the crowd, he might look calm. To his opponent, he looks dangerous. Because calm isn't submission. It's readiness. It's power under discipline. You have a choice. You can be the one who reacts to every insult, every provocation, every challenge. Or you can be the one who stays calm, steady, collected, and makes everyone else uncomfortable with your silence. That's the level of control you're building. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to fight to win. You don't need to rush to prove yourself. You just need to be still, still enough to see clearly, still enough to think before you act, still enough to stay in command. When others lose it, that's real dominance. Calmness is not doing nothing. It's doing the right thing at the right time. It's the opposite of passivity. It's precision. It's patience. It's purpose. And that's what most people lack: purpose. They confuse reaction for action. They confuse noise for influence. They confuse movement for progress. You're not here to move randomly. You're here to move intentionally. Every second you stay calm, you're charging your energy. Every breath you control, you're sharpening your mind. Every pause you take before reacting, you're building your power. Because calm people don't waste energy. They invest it. They hold it until the right moment. And then they strike once, and it counts. That's mastery. That's control. That's power. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You don't need them to understand it. You just need to know this. The quieter you become, the more powerful you grow. Silence confuses people. Your calmness threatens them. Because when you don't react, they lose control of you. And that's the point. The moment you stop being reactive, you take back your authority. You stop being predictable. You stop being manipulated. You stop being emotionally available to chaos. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. It's not about being indifferent. It's about being in control. Remember this. Calmness is not the absence of strength. It's the expression of it. Think of a lion before it attacks. Silent, still, focused. That's calm power. That's lethal composure. Meanwhile, the prey panics. The crowd screams. The noise rises, but the lion waits until the perfect moment, and then it moves. One strike, total precision. That's you. That's what you're training for. Calm like a lion, silent like a blade, focused like a sniper. You don't move with emotion. You move with calculation. That's emotional intelligence at its peak, and it starts with one decision. You choose calm. No matter what, you choose calm when they disrespect you. You choose calm when plans fall apart. You choose calm when people misunderstand you. Why? Because your response is your power, and calm is your response. You have a choice. You always have a choice. That's the discipline. That's the separation between the average and the exceptional. The average person reacts to emotion. The exceptional person channels it. The average person seeks validation. The exceptional person seeks control. It's not about ego. It's about command. It's not about showing strength. It's about being strength, so stop chasing approval. Stop performing for applause. Stop letting noise dictate your decisions. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Stay powerful. Real power doesn't need to shout. Repeat that. Real power doesn't need to shout. Real power doesn't rush. Real power doesn't argue. It waits. It watches. It wins. That's how you take control of your emotional energy. That's how you conserve your strength for what matters. Because every time you react, you drain your energy. Every time you stay calm, you store it. And over time, that calm becomes your identity. It becomes who you are. Not a tactic, but a temperament. People will test it. They'll push your buttons just to see if it's real. Don't give them the satisfaction. Let your silence do the talking. Let your consistency prove your control. You don't have to explain calm to people who thrive on chaos. You just have to live it. You'll notice something powerful. When you stop reacting, people start respecting. When you stop chasing, people start noticing. When you stop shouting, people start listening. That's authority. That's composure. That's leadership. And it's all built from one core truth. Calm is not weakness. It's power. Refined. It's the energy of self-control, the strength of inner certainty, the confidence to know you can handle anything without breaking. You want to build that kind of strength? Then practice calmness every day. Start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, stay calm. When someone insults you online, stay calm. When life throws problems at you, stay calm. It's not about the situation. It's about your standard. You're not reacting anymore. You're responding with purpose. And that's the evolution you're creating, from chaos to clarity, from noise to power. Remember, calm is not weakness. Calm is focus. Calm is readiness. Calm is control. And every time you choose calm, You reinforce the person you're becoming, stronger, quieter, and more precise. You have a choice, and now you know the truth. Real power doesn't need to shout. You mastered the art of responding. Now you've learned the strength of calm. Next, it's time to go deeper, into the heart of mental control. You've built your composure. Now, you'll learn how to command the storms inside your mind. Most people think their problems are external. They think it's other people, the job, the stress, the noise. But it's not. The real battle is internal. Your thoughts, your reactions, your inner dialogue. That's the true battlefield. And until you win there, you'll lose everywhere else. You can't control the storm outside until you calm the storm within. That's the key. When your mind spirals, your emotions follow. When your emotions spiral, your actions collapse. And when your actions collapse, your results disappear. So stop fighting the world and start mastering yourself. This chapter is about learning how to control the chaos inside your head, because if you can win the war inside, nothing outside can defeat you. You have to understand something. Your thoughts create your emotions fuel your behavior, and your behavior defines your reality. It all starts with the thought. That single, invisible, unspoken thought. It's either building your strength or feeding your weakness. You can't afford to let your mind run wild. You can't afford to be a slave to every random emotion that shows up. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can choose the thought that serves you. You can choose the emotion that strengthens you. You can choose the focus that calms you. That's discipline. That's mental control. That's power. Here's the truth. Your mind will always try to pull you into noise. It will exaggerate problems. It will replay insults. It will predict failure. It's wired for survival, not peace. But you're not here to survive. You're here to command. So what do? You build a system. You build awareness. You learn to interrupt the storm before it becomes a hurricane. That's where mental resets come in. A mental reset is simple. It's the conscious decision to stop the spiral. When anxiety hits, pause. When anger rises, breathe. When negative thoughts appear, catch them. Don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just observe. Because observation breaks identification. When you observe the storm, you're no longer trapped in it. You can say, I'm feeling anger instead of I am angry. That single shift changes everything. You stop being the emotion. You start directing it. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Let's talk about breath mastery. Your breath is your anchor. It's the fastest way to calm the nervous system. Because the body and the mind are mirrors. Control one, and you influence the other. When stress floods in, don't react. Regulate. Inhale slowly through your nose. Hold. Exhale twice as long. Do it again and again until the panic lowers and your focus returns. That's not weakness. That's control. Even elite soldiers use this. In combat, they're trained to slow their breathing, to stay calm under fire. Because panic kills precision. You're training for the same thing, not bullets, but emotional bullets. The criticism, the failure, the noise. When those moments hit, your breath is your weapon. Your stillness is your shield. That's the key. Win the war inside, and nothing outside can defeat you. The next tool is awareness triggers. Awareness triggers are cues you design to pull yourself out of chaos and back into command. It could be a phrase, a gesture, a mental anchor. For example, when your heart races, say to yourself, I'm in control. When your thoughts spiral, touch your wrist, take a breath, and reset. When your mind says, I can't handle this, respond with, yes, I can. You're rewiring the brain through repetition. You're teaching yourself how to interrupt the storm before it wins. This isn't motivational fluff. It's neuroscience. Your brain follows the pathways you repeat. If you constantly repeat panic, you build panic. If you constantly repeat calm, you build control. You have a choice. Every thought is a repetition. Every emotion is a habit. Build the habit of calm. Build the pattern of pause. Build the repetition of response, because mastery is nothing more than discipline repeated daily. Now listen carefully. Your mind will try to convince you that the chaos is real. It will say, "This is too much." It will say, "You can't handle this." But that's the old version of you speaking. That's fear pretending to be logic. You're not that person anymore. You're not here to be controlled by thought. You're here to control thought. You don't need your mind to be quiet. You just need it to obey. And that obedience is built through repetition, awareness, and discipline. Breathe, reset, refocus. That's your routine. Every day, every moment. The storm might still come, but now you'll stand in the center of it. Still, unshaken, focused. Because calm isn't about silence. It's about command. You can't stop thoughts from showing up, but you can stop them from staying. You can stop them from controlling your emotions. You don't need permission to be at peace. You just need discipline to stay in control. That's the difference between the average mind and the trained mind. The average mind reacts. The trained mind regulates. It's not about perfection. It's about awareness. It's not about never feeling emotion. It's about never being owned by it. You're learning to command the chaos, to steer it, to use it. That's power. Remember this. The outside world mirrors your inner world. If you're unstable inside, life will keep reflecting instability. If you're calm inside, life will start responding with clarity. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's cause and effect. So when things fall apart, look inward first. When people test your patience, breathe before you speak. When fear whispers in your ear, answer with discipline. Because every moment you choose calm, you weaken chaos. Every moment you choose awareness, you take back control. You have a choice. You always have a choice, and when you choose control inside, nothing outside can defeat you. That's the lesson. That's the truth. That's the standard. You've just learned how to win the most important war, the one inside your own mind. You've learned to pause, to breathe, to reset, and to respond. You've learned that calm isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about mastering everything within. You've taken back control of your thoughts. Now it's time to master the emotions those thoughts create. You've built internal clarity. Next, you'll learn how to use that clarity to turn emotion into information, not chaos. You've calmed the mind. Now you'll discipline the heart. Emotion is not the enemy. Emotion is information. It's data. But most people treat emotion like destiny. They feel something, and they follow it. They feel anger, and they lash out. They feel fear, and they freeze. They feel doubt, and they stop. That's not discipline. That's emotional slavery. You have to understand this. You can't stop emotions from arriving, but you can stop them from driving. You feel it. You don't follow it. That's the key. The calm mind doesn't suppress emotion. The calm mind translates emotion. It listens to the signal. It reads the data. Then it decides what to do next. That's mastery. Think about this. When a professional negotiator sits at the table, they feel pressure too. They feel tension. They feel adrenaline. But they don't let it control them. They analyze it. They watch the other person's eyes. They listen for tone changes. They feel their own heartbeat, but they don't let it rush their words. They stay composed. They stay deliberate. Because they know. Emotion clouds judgment. The same is true for a surgeon. When the patient's life is in their hands, fear is there. It's in the room. It's real, but they don't follow it. They use it as data that sharpens focus. They know panic kills precision. And in your life, panic kills progress. You feel it? You don't follow it. You've been told to follow your heart. No. That's bad advice. Your heart feels everything: excitement, fear, pain, desire, regret. It reacts to every change in the environment. If you follow every emotion, you'll live your life like a leaf in the wind, tossed around by everything that happens around you. You don't need to follow your heart. You need to lead it. You lead your emotions with discipline. You lead them with awareness. You lead them with purpose. Because emotion is energy, and energy needs direction. That's the key. Let's break this down practically. When you feel anger, stop and ask, what is this telling me? Maybe it's telling you your boundaries were crossed. Maybe it's telling you something matters deeply to you. Good. That's information, but now it's your job to decide how to use that data. Do you blow up and destroy everything in front of you, or do you channel that energy into clarity, into action, into focus? You have a choice, always. When you feel fear, pause. Ask yourself, is this fear keeping me safe or keeping me small? If it's protecting you from real danger, listen. If it's protecting your comfort zone, challenge it. That's emotional intelligence. That's awareness in motion. You feel it. You don't follow it. Most people confuse emotional awareness with emotional reaction. Awareness means you can sense what's happening inside without losing control. Reaction means you let it take over. The difference between the two? Discipline. It's not about not feeling. It's about not fleeing. It's not about being numb. It's about being neutral. Neutral is where power lives. Neutral is where clarity lives. Neutral is where you make decisions that change your life. You can't think straight when you're on fire inside. You can't see the road when your vision is fogged by rage or fear. That's why calm is power. Calm is control. Calm is not weakness. It's command. Here's a truth most people never learn. Your emotions are trying to help you. They're just loud, raw, and untrained. Anxiety says, something might go wrong. That's a request for preparation. Anger says, something feels unfair. That's a request for alignment. Sadness says, something is gone. That's a request for acceptance. Each emotion is a message, but when you overreact, you miss the message. You let the volume drown out the meaning. You feel it. You don't follow it. Let's get tactical. Here's what you do the next time emotion hits. Step 1. Name it. Labeling emotion activates the rational brain. It reduces the emotional charge by up to 50%. Say it out loud. I'm feeling frustrated, not I am frustrated. That's the difference between identity and awareness. Step 2. Locate it. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it in your chest, your stomach, your jaw? Awareness of sensation grounds you in the present. Step 3. Breathe through it. Breath is the bridge between chaos and clarity. Inhale deep. Exhale slow. You're not avoiding the emotion. You're processing it. Step 4. Translate it. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What data does it carry? Then decide, what's the right response? You've just turned emotion into information. That's how the best perform under pressure. That's how warriors, surgeons, and leaders stay steady when everyone else falls apart. It's not because they don't feel, it's because they've trained how to feel. You can do the same. You just have to stop reacting and start reading. Stop following and start leading. That's the discipline. Understand this clearly. Emotional control isn't about coldness. It's about clarity. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally fluent. You speak the language of your feelings without letting them write your story. You can be compassionate and firm. You can be passionate and disciplined. You can be emotional and still be in control. Because the goal isn't to feel less. It's to feel better. To feel with intention. You feel it. You don't follow it. The world wants you reactive because reactive people are easy to manipulate. Emotional people spend money faster, argue louder, and regret deeper. Calm people think. Calm people choose. Calm people act on principle, not pressure. That's real strength. That's real freedom. You don't need to eliminate emotion. You need to elevate it. You need to make emotion serve your mission, not sabotage it. That's the key. You've learned to see emotion for what it truly is, not your master, but your messenger. You've learned to use feeling as feedback, not as fate. You've learned to pause, to breathe, to translate, and to choose. You've learned that you can feel it and not follow it. You've built mental control. You've built emotional control. Now it's time to build behavioral control, because emotion shapes thought, thought shapes action, and action shapes destiny. You've mastered the inner storm. You've turned emotion into data. Now let's talk about the next level of power, the control of your habits, your routine, your discipline. You've trained your mind and heart. Now it's time to train your life. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers. You've been told that silence means weakness. You've been told that if you're quiet, you'll be ignored. That's a lie. Silence builds awareness. Noise kills it. Every moment you fill with distraction, you lose a piece of your power. Calm doesn't survive in chaos. Calm thrives in quiet. Be silent. Be sharp. Be unstoppable. You want clarity? Stop talking so much. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't even listening. Stop trying to fill the air because you're uncomfortable with stillness. Stillness is where strength is forged. Silence is where your mind sharpens its edge. You don't need more noise. You need more focus. You don't need more opinions. You need more observation. That's the key. When you sit in silence, you start to see. You see the patterns in your behavior. You hear your own thoughts clearly. You realize how much energy you waste reacting to meaningless noise. You have a choice: to drown in distractions or to dominate through silence. Look at the world's sharpest minds: monks, military strategists, and CEOs. They all understand this truth. Silence is a weapon. Monks practice silence not because they hate sound, but because they crave awareness. They strip away words to sharpen attention. Every quiet hour is a workout for the mind. Military leaders do the same. Before every mission, before every strike, there's silence, stillness, focus. Why? Because silence builds control. It gives them time to see everything. The chaos outside doesn't matter when the mind inside is steady, and CEOs, they use silence in negotiation like a scalpel. They know silence makes people uncomfortable. They know that whoever fills the silence first usually loses control. They stay calm. They stay patient. Because they know silence shifts power. Be silent. Be sharp. Be unstoppable. Silence is awareness in motion. It's not the absence of action. It's the preparation for action. When you stop talking, you start noticing. You start catching your emotional triggers before they explode. You start hearing the tone in someone's voice, not just their words. You start sensing opportunities that loud people miss. Noise keeps you reactive. Silence makes you responsive. That's the difference between the average and the exceptional. The average person reacts to noise. The exceptional person reads it. You don't need to speak to prove control. Your calm proves it for you. That's the key. Let's be honest. Most people fear silence. They fear what they'll hear inside. They fear the truth that hides behind the noise because silence exposes you. It shows you where your thoughts run wild. It shows you what you've been avoiding. It shows you who you really are. But that's the point. You can't master what you refuse to face. You can't control your emotions if you can't even sit with them. Silence isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. Because growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens in clarity, and clarity lives in quiet. Be silent. Be sharp. Be unstoppable. Here's the practice. Here's what you do. Every morning, take 10 minutes of silence. No phone, no music, no talking. Just breathe. Just listen. Just watch your thoughts move. At first, it'll feel loud inside. That's okay. The noise you hear is what's been there all along. You just never noticed it before. Don't fight it, don't judge it. Just observe. That's the beginning of awareness. That's where control begins. Next, create silence in your environment. Declutter your space. Turn off constant notifications. Don't start your day with someone else's words in your head. Your mind needs quiet to calibrate. Every piece of noise, a podcast, a scroll, a ping, is a distraction tax. You pay it with focus. You pay it with peace. Stop paying that price. You have a choice. You can consume or you can create. You can react or you can reflect. Choose silence, because silence feeds awareness. Awareness feeds action, and action, grounded in awareness, changes everything. Let's talk about power. Power isn't loud. Power is controlled. Power is focused. When you walk into a room and stay quiet, people feel it. They notice your stillness before you even speak. That's presence. That's real authority. Noise tries to prove something. Silence already knows. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your energy. When you stop reacting, you reclaim your peace. When you stop performing, you reclaim your identity. That's emotional dominance. That's mental control. That's how calm becomes command. Be silent. Be sharp. Be unstoppable. Now, listen closely. You can't hear guidance in chaos. You can't see opportunity in noise. You can't grow if your attention is constantly stolen. Silence isn't the opposite of progress. It's the fuel for it. You sharpen your intuition there. You train your instincts there. You build your vision there. In silence, you stop surviving and start strategizing. In silence, you stop reacting and start rebuilding. You don't need more noise to find your direction. You need more quiet. You need space between thought and action. That's where wisdom lives. That's the key. Here's the truth. Every person who's mastered calm has mastered silence. Because silence is the foundation of control. It's the training ground for composure. It's the home of awareness. You can't be calm without silence. You can't be powerful without presence, and you can't be unstoppable without discipline. Be silent. Be sharp. Be unstoppable. You've learned that silence isn't emptiness. It's energy. It's focus. It's control. You've learned that calm grows in quiet spaces, both around you and inside you, and you've learned that stillness is not inaction. It's strategy. You've built the foundation of awareness. Now it's time to build the discipline of patience, because silence gives you awareness. But patience turns that awareness into timing, and timing is what separates the impulsive from the powerful. You've learned to be silent. Now you'll learn to wait. You've mastered stillness. Now let's master timing. Most of your emotional chaos isn't yours. It's theirs. It's borrowed noise. It's inherited tension. It's someone else's storm trying to pull you in, and you've been taught to carry it, to fix it, to absorb it. But here's the truth. Their chaos is not your responsibility. You can care without carrying. You can love without losing control. You can be kind without being consumed. That's the key. People will try to pull you into their emotional mess. They'll bait you with guilt. They'll provoke you with drama. They'll test your peace because they've lost theirs. You have a choice, to join their chaos or to protect your calm. You don't need to respond to every attack. You don't need to explain yourself to every critic. You don't need to fight every battle that calls your name. Because sometimes silence is the victory. Walking away is the strength. Staying calm is the power move. Their chaos is not your responsibility. Let's make this clear. You can't save people who enjoy drowning. You can't heal people who refuse awareness. You can't teach peace to someone who profits from noise. Stop trying to manage other people's emotions. Stop trying to regulate their reactions. Stop trying to rescue everyone from their own storms. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. You're not abandoning people. You're protecting your energy. And that's not selfish. That's survival. That's the key. Look at emotionally intelligent people, the ones who stay composed under pressure. They don't fight every insult. They don't chase validation. They don't get dragged into petty debates. Why? Because they understand energy economics. Every reaction costs you focus. Every argument costs you clarity. Every battle costs you peace. And some wars aren't worth fighting. When you know your value, you stop arguing your worth. When you know your truth, you stop needing to prove it. When you know your peace, you stop defending it. That's emotional maturity. That's mastery. Their chaos is not your responsibility. Let me give you a real-world example. Think of a professional negotiator. They're calm in the face of aggression. They don't mirror emotion. They control it. When the other side raises their voice, they lower theirs. When tension builds, they breathe slower. When emotion flares, they stay factual. They don't take it personally. They don't absorb the tone. They let the storm pass, and then they speak. That's emotional detachment in motion. That's control. Now think of a surgeon. In the middle of chaos, alarms blaring, people shouting, they don't match the noise. They focus on precision. They trust their training. They don't waste energy on panic. They act calmly, because panic doesn't save lives. Focus does. That's the same discipline you need. Not in the operating room, in your conversations, your relationships, your daily life. When chaos calls, stay calm. When provoked, pause. When insulted, disengage. You feel it. You don't follow it. You see it. You don't join it. Because their chaos is not your responsibility. Here's what happens when you don't set boundaries. You become a magnet for manipulation. The loudest people will drain you. The most dramatic people will distract you. The most reactive people will define your day. You'll wake up tired, not from work, but from people. You'll go to sleep angry, not from your life, but from theirs. And that's how you lose control of your peace, not through failure, but through absorption. You can't build calm if you keep borrowing chaos. You can't stay strong if you keep carrying other people's weight. You can't stay sharp if you keep stepping into every storm. You have to walk away, not in hate, in discipline. That's the key. So how do you actually detach? How do you protect your peace without becoming cold or disconnected? Here's the blueprint. Step 1. Pause before reacting. Someone sends a passive-aggressive text? Pause. Someone throws an insult? Pause. Someone tries to guilt-trip you? Pause. That pause is power. That's where you regain control of your emotional state. Step 2. Name what's happening. Say it in your mind. They're projecting. They're trying to control the narrative. They're testing my peace. When you name it, you neutralize it. It loses its grip. Because awareness breaks emotional hypnosis. Step 3. Choose your response. Walk away. Change the topic. Set a boundary. Remember, not reacting is also reacting. Silence speaks louder than shouting. Distance teaches faster than debate. You don't owe them access to your calm. You don't owe them a seat in your mental space. You owe yourself peace. Their chaos is not your responsibility. It's not about ignoring people. It's about not internalizing their noise. You can understand someone's pain without absorbing it. You can witness their storm without standing in the rain. Empathy doesn't mean exposure, compassion doesn't mean chaos, and boundaries don't mean betrayal. You can love people from a distance. You can care without carrying. You can support without sinking. Because if you lose yourself while helping others, that's not love, that's self-abandonment, and calm can't survive there. So here's what you need to remember. Not every fight is yours. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every problem requires your presence. You have to protect your peace like it's oxygen, because it is. Once it's gone, everything else collapses. You're not here to absorb their noise. You're here to master your focus. You're here to lead yourself. You're here to build unshakable calm. Their chaos is not your responsibility. Repeat it. Believe it. Live it. You've learned to step back from their storms. You've learned to walk away without guilt. You've learned to separate care from control. That's strength. That's emotional maturity. That's how calm wins. But there's another battlefield waiting. Not with others, but with time. Because even when you master silence and detachment, there's one more test of calm that breaks most people. Waiting. The delay. The uncertainty. The long stretch between effort and reward. You've learned to stand still in chaos. Now you'll learn to stand patient in time.